Hello viewers, welcome to the Fatu Network. I am Omar Wali. I'm here with Fatu Kamara. Today the United Democratic Party held a press conference where they made their position clear on this coalition agreement. So we'll be taking comments, and you can also contribute by calling our Skype. It's Fatu Radio Live, and also we'll be analyzing what had happened before today and some of the activities. But before all that, Fatu, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Omar, and thank you all for watching us. We are live here on Karaba Avenue, and like Omar rightly said, we'll be talking about the just concluded press conference that was organized by the United Democratic Party.
Yes, we will come into that, but first I just want to give an idea. Most of the people did not watch the press conference, so we'll take a few minutes to listen to what the Secretary General and the party leader, Ousseynou Dabo, said at the press conference. Let's take a listen.
The UDP's flag bearer, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, was selected by the convention to contest on the coalition's platform for the 2016 presidential elections. And was a condition that anyone selected as the coalition flag bearer will resign from his political party. And if he's an independent, will resign from that organization, so that it's not viewed as being the candidate for the particular non-political organization or independent organization. Of course, when President Adama Barrow was selected, he resigned from his position as a member of the United Democratic Party and became an independent candidate sponsored on the platform of the Coalition 16. So those three conditions of being the flag bearer of a political party was fulfilled by all contestants. We see that the DOI, NRP, NCP, UDP, the presidential candidates were in, and of course all of them agreed to be subjected to the primary process, and the third condition could not apply to all because it's only applicable to only the candidate who was elected. So the President Adama Barrow happened to be that, so he had to resign from his membership of his party. Now, the fourth condition is that the candidate, if elected, will serve for a term of 3 years, and at the end of that 3 years will step down and organize free, fair, and transparent elections, at which elections he will not participate. That is the pending condition that needs fulfillment. Now, the position of the UDP, and indeed all other parties at that convention, was that if these conditions were not agreed on, there would probably have been no coalition 2016. So these were the conditions that really informed the decision of all political parties that met at Karaba to really agree to go into a coalition and contest the elections. Now, when one looks at all the conditions, there is no doubt that substantial part of this agreement has been performed. So of all the four conditions, 3 of them have now been performed, and it's only 1. So I think the lawyer said, I think there's a substantial compliance also, has been with the with the conditions. And of course, it does not appear that there are any reasons to fail to comply or to have condition 4 fulfilled. The United Democratic Party, after, as I've said, several meetings, have come to the conclusion that the Coalition 2016 agreement should be complied with because it was a condition of the coalition agreement. If it did not, if it was not part of the agreement, there would have been no coalition. The UDP urges all the parties to the coalition agreement, and particularly the principal beneficiary of the coalition agreement, that is His Excellency President Adama Barrow, to be faithful to what was agreed to by all the parties, including President Adama Barrow, and also for President Adama Barrow to fulfill his promises to the electorate that if he's elected president, he'll serve for a term of 3 years, step down, supervise elections, and hand over the office of the presidency to whoever is elected at that elections. His promises to the electorate.
That was Ousainou Darboe, the Secretary General and the party leader of the United Democratic Party there, speaking to journalists earlier today. Fatou, you heard what Ousainou Darboe said, that you know, there were conditions laid during the agreement, and 3 of them were met, except one that has to do with the, you know, sticking to this agreement, that for Barrow to step aside at the end of the 3 years. First of all, what do you make of this statement by Darboe?
Well, I think what UDP is doing, they're doing politics. Okay. They saw a president who they think they will have an opportunity if they put too much pressure on him so they can be in power. If you look at it this way, UDP has been in opposition since 1996 when it was formed. And then Yahya Jammeh was there, a very heavy-handed dictator. And even though there are words that during one of the elections, UDP won, I had lawyer Ousainou Darboe, the leader of the UDP, said that to you, that Foitema Omolje, the crowd that was out, he measured it by the crowds. But I actually had that they won that elections. But because Jammeh was there was not much that can be done. And we all have seen everything that happened between UDP and Yahya Jammeh. It was very tough. They actually gave Jammeh a tough time. But they couldn't have the presidency. You know, they did everything that was possible. It couldn't happen. And then here comes... When he was part of the government, to say that he supports the 5 years and that the constitution was 5, and then now he changed it. So what that would tell you is that they've seen an opportunity and they want to take an advantage of that.
So the opportunity is, for example, if this man continued next 2 years, 2020, it will be difficult for them to win an election. Or this is too, if they put pressure on him and step aside now, will put them in a position or advantage to win election.
Well, you know, right now, we all know that when it comes to the politics in the country right now, UDP has a huge following. We can say they're even more active when it comes to the politics right now. So if we are to hold elections right now, I would not be surprised if they win. I wrote something about this on my Facebook the other day, because a lot of people would say, oh, they would not win. And I'm like, what are you doing to make sure that they don't win? So they actually have a huge following right now. And we all know they actually, I'm getting word that the sound is out. They can hear me.
I think the sound is good. It's coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can,
I can hear. So
yes,
you can
hear me. So, yeah, so definitely we know that right now, if elections are to be held today, they could win the elections. Okay, so somebody is just texting, we can't hear you, but I think I can hear myself on Omar's. So maybe what you need to do, just refresh and try again. So yes, like I was saying, if elections are to be held today, UDP could win. So now they want to take advantage of that. They don't want this to go into 3 years or 5 years. If this goes into 5 years, who knows what's going to happen in 2 years? Right now, they're there. But what's going to happen next week? What's going to happen next year? What's going to happen in 2021? Even though they're still saying that they are going to win the elections, but nobody knows what's going to happen. We can have a candidate, somebody could just pop up, and they have all the crowd. You never know. So, it's politics.
So you mean their support might dwindle, and Barrow also might entrench himself and become stronger, and others also might come and make it difficult for them.
Yes, of course that could happen, because this is why a lot of people are saying the momentum that UDP has, the crowd that UDP has, a lot of people would say would blame that to Barrow's inactivity, because what is happening is Barrow is not doing much when it comes to politics. He does not have his own political party yet. We all know that. But we also know that in terms of reaching out to the people and having that people-to-people contact, he's not having that. So UDP took advantage of that. They have a leader who will go around, who will talk to people. I saw him take photos with very young kids and all of that. So they actually don't want this momentum to die. So if they want to wait for 5 years, what's going to happen? I guess this is why, this is what I think, that this is the reason why they want to have this right now and be done with it. Because what they want is to have them take over the country in terms of presidency.
But don't you think this Ousainou Darboe, he shot himself on the foot when he said Barrow should serve for 5 years instead of 3 years? Now we are seeing flip-flopping in his statements now. What does this mean for his political career?
Well, I think that is something that the people who are observing it would say they're not being consistent. But again, it is politics. They know. The lawyer Ousainou Darboe was out when you interviewed him, and he said, if they're waiting for me to have a problem with Barrow, only a buster would see that. And then we saw that. And then he came out and said that he was Moses. That happened. And then now Barrow is a betrayer, according to them. And then they came out and said, now, if anybody talks about these 5 years, I will go to court with you. And now that is also changing. What that would tell you is politics. Like I said, they're trying to take advantage of the situation so they can push him out and come in. But the problem with that is, a Gambian's really ready for that. I've always made my position clear when it comes to these 2 years and 3 years. I've always said I think it is very right and it's also fair, and listening to what the IEC had to say, they said they definitely cannot have elections in 2019. So I think that what we should do is, or what UDP should do is right now work on their support base, make it bigger, grow it, because all the political parties are coming up, and who knows, and we can have elections in 2021. But to have elections, to force it on us right now, I think the country is definitely not ready for that.
Well, others also are saying what Mama Kande is to APRC, that is what Bibi Darboe is also to UDP. It has took so much chunk from APRC, Mama Kande. But with the coming of Bibi Darboe too, will take so much people from the United Democratic Party. Is this also another challenge for their party?
Well, we're hearing that because Bibi Darboe, of course, is from Kiang, where I am from. And we know that UDP has a very strong base when it comes to support in Kiang.
Kiang West?
Yes, in Kiang in general. They have a lot of support in Kiang. Remember, Jammeh did everything to my people, the Kiankas, and they will still say, we don't believe in you. We will not vote for you, which is the reason why our roads just right now that, we're having some of those things, electricity since 1965, we don't have it. But Bibi Darboe himself being somebody who is from Kiang, I think that would definitely, no matter what, it would get him some people as well. So now the UDP will have to divide Kiang with Bakary Bunjadabo. I was jokingly telling someone who said, I think all of you Kiankas should now come and join UDP. And I'm like, but before we go to Bansang all the way in CRR, why can't we just stay in LRR?
Okay.
You know, it's just like, UDP, if Lawyer Usainu Dabo was from Kiang, or there's a candidate who's from Kiang, you think he will go and support another one from for the Western region?
I had Banker, stay online because we have a problem with the electricity and the light is off.
So Omar, just like I said, I think UDP, what they're trying to do is to take advantage. They don't want this to go too long because they're saying, okay, if this goes too long, a Bankamane could pop up there and, you know, come, even though it's true, they've been in it since 1996. A lot of people will say that, but also we also have to keep in mind that UDP, some of their top people were also in government. What difference did they make?
Well, that was the question I put to Dabo when he talked about the bosses.
That's also one issue.
Yeah,
that's something
that... okay, there was no bosses, student going. I said, but what did you do? You are foreign minister, you are vice president. What did you do for those people? We will come to that. Hello, Banker.
Hello, Omar. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Good. I'm sure you also following the press conference which was held this morning, UDP press conference.
Right.
What is your take on what UDP's position that Barrow should comply with the agreement and relinquish power at the end of 3 years?
Well, I mean, look, I think that what has happened here and what continues to happen in the Gambia, even though it's normal, as crazy as it sounds, it's normal. But it's politicians behaving like politicians and political parties doing what political parties do, which is to take advantage of situations and then erase issues and make the other side look bad. But when we come down to the basics of it, that is for Gambia and for what we stand for as a people, or we should stand for as a people, I think that at the end of the day, and I've said this before and I'll continue to say it, neither Barrow, no Usainu Dabo, no OJ Jallow, no Mai Fati, no Henry Gomez, no Asada Toure, no Madam Tambajang, not a single one of them has any sound moral ground to stand on when it comes to these 3 years, 5 years thing. The only person and the only political party for that matter, if I'm going to talk about their parties, the only one political party that has a moral standing on very, very strong moral ground on these 3 years, 5 years thing, or even on the issue of the MOU in general, that is PDOIS Doi, and that's Halifa Sallah. This is the honest to God fact. Now, and here is why. I mean, just only a few years ago, not very long ago actually, it's funny how time flies makes in politics. Yes, the debate wasn't about adhering to the MOU. The debate was about whether it was signed or not signed. This was we had a very vigorous debate about that. And the whole idea behind that debate, Omar, at the time, and Fatu at the time, was basically to delegitimize the MOU and to render it pointless and to say, look, this is not even a valid document. That's what the whole signing and not signing conversation was all about. So if we had been there, somehow in 3 years we are transitioning from position to position, issue to issue. Yes, it's true, UDP as a political party did not issue any statement on this matter. But the UDP as a political party also, within the context of the MOU, I mean, I haven't seen anything that has been done within the context of that MOU that was supposed to be followed through, that was followed through by the UDP either. And not by any one of them, Barrow or any one of them. I'm just saying, I don't want to make this about the UDP and UDP alone, because it's not. Yeah, Usainu Dabo is the one who sat down in front of us today, and really, I was blown away to hear him. He should have even allowed maybe the party spokesperson, Tal, to sit there instead to issue the statement. I think Usainu is just the wrong person to even sit there and look Gambians in the eye and tell us that Barrow will leave in 3 years. Because just even a few years ago, it was Usainu Dabo who actually was the one who started this whole conversation about this 5-year, 3-year thing, when he literally came out of prison and said Barrow should stay for 5 years or else, and if anybody says otherwise, he's willing to go to court. Now, if that has happened, and basically, which means nobody has ignored that MOU, nobody has any respect for that MOU, nobody believed in that MOU, For us to come this far and all of a sudden everybody wants us to really follow the MOU to the letter and or respect any provisions in that MOU. I think really, if you ask me, on the basis of even whether it's right or wrong, is hypocritical. I think what the UDP should have done, or Honorable Dawo, if he were to deliver the statement, should have said, was to come out there and say, guys, you know what, we dropped the ball as a coalition on this 3-year, 5-year thing. It should have been a 5-year affair. At this point right now, we are just going to go to elections in 2021, and during the course of this process, we're going to show the Gambian people that UDP is the party that should be a party of their choice, and then make the case for that. Rather than coming there and basically looking like you are flip-flopping all over the place. Yesterday you said, I'm even willing to go to court, nobody should to push this in, and today you are saying no. And when did you see value in that position? When you got fired? When your party got fired? You all have become opposition. I think it's totally, all of them are playing political games with these things, starting with Barrow, UDP, PPP, NRP, all of them. I mean, every single one of them, not a single one of them believes in this MOU. They saw it as a political tool, and they felt it served its purpose right after 2016 elections, and nobody wanted to follow it. So I don't think we should even go back to this MOU discussion now, frankly.
Okay,
I think what Banka is saying, that all of them were trying to play games with this. I just want to say that when they were in power, I mean, everybody wanted Barrow to go 5 years, because at that time they were all, you know, ministerial positions. Famata Tambajang Jallo was there, Honorable Lawyer Useno Dabo, and all of them were there. At that time they liked it. But then now that they are out, that is when they're coming to say this. And if you look at the Barrow situation too, he is the one who is at the helm of affairs. And now he too does not want to go. And if it was some of these people, I think the situation would have been the same. They would also be sitting there and they would not want to go as well. So I think definitely they have to look at the interests of the Gambia and the Gambian people and know that the Gambians, I don't think we are ready for elections right now. And whatever happened, they need to fix their differences and give us time, 2021. Let them work on their political parties, make them big or whatever they have to do. And 2021, we can have elections. Because right now, if anybody wants to push Barrow out, I mean, he can come out and say, I agree to 3 years now, I want to go. But the IEC came out and said, we're not ready for elections. The Constitution also says 5 years. So if that happens, I think what we need to do, let them be patient. I mean, stuff happened, but they were in there and they never complained.
Banka, imagine this agreement was, they respect the coalition agreement. What will be the situation now?
It would have been totally different. You see, this is all about consistency and at least having the moral authority to make a pronouncement. From day one, this coalition agreement, this MOU, was just not respected by any of these parties except DOI. DOI, frankly, is the only political party that has believed in this document. It has been the one that has been adhering to it. It has been the one that has been pushing for it. And frankly, it has been the only party that has been advocating for it. The rest have just always provisions in it will be pulled here and there, depending on the convenience of it politically, and using it to serve their purposes. In the end, they have compromised a very, very, very important national project along the way. What should have happened, like you said, coming back to your question, if they all had at least adhered to this coalition MOU, or they all truly committed themselves to the spirit of the coalition itself. I think at this point right now, if Barrow were to behave the way he has, which is firing literally everybody out of government now, I think each and every one of them would have had a very, very strong moral platform to stand on and rail against Barrow for not honoring the MOU. But then at this point right now, watching Senator Dabo there, he looked ridiculous, really, frankly, to telling people that Barrow should leave after 3 years, even though, yes, he's pushing a UDP quote-unquote official position. But there was a time 3 years ago when this MOU did the conversation among all players was pretty much about whether it was signed or not. I mean, which was meant to do nothing but to really render it pointless. So 3 years after the whole saga, I think this is just the wrong time to push for this 3-year thing anymore among political parties, as regular Gambians though, because they were the ones the promise has been made to. I think the regular Gambians are out there who were not party to this whole process could possibly stand up and say, hey, you know what, you political parties, this is the promise you made to us, and then hold all the parties. I mean, this is not just shouldn't just hold Barrow to account for it. I think all the parties need to pay for this, if there is anyone to pay for it. because this is not a Barrow problem.
Now,
this is all the parties, and that's why it gets interesting for me when I see one party or other party making this about Barrow. Barrow violated every tenet of that coalition agreement, but so did UDP and Usainu Dabo, and so did PPP, Oje Jallo, so did my party, and his GMC, so did Henry Gomez. I can go on and on, except Doi, like I said.
Well, it's unfortunate, but this is something that we all discussed, especially Gambians who were in the diaspora at that time and fighting alongside everybody else who was fighting during the struggle. We did say, when this whole thing happened, we warned them. They wouldn't say that we didn't say this, but that time everyone was so much into power that they did not put these things into details. So it got to a point where amongst themselves, you know, they started having issues. I can remember interviewing Halifa Sallah, and what I asked him was, why didn't you take a ministerial position? I asked him, but he said, okay, we were told, how about this? And then everything was changing, because that time they were all in there and they wanted it, and it was nice. So I think what they need to do right now, because you cannot also be pushing the country into situations like every minute, this is what we want to do, the next minute we don't want to do it, the next minute we don't want to do that. I think what they need to do is to get together as a coalition that was here before and sit down and talk amongst themselves and see how they're going to solve this. But I definitely do not think that, like Banka said, the UDP leader actually came out and told us that he would take anybody to court who mentioned these 3 years, and now coming back again to say, okay, now we all discuss amongst ourselves as UDP, now we're going for 3 years. I think definitely, I'm not sure the Gambians are that prepared for 3 years.
Banka, do you think Gambians will take these things with seriousness? What UDP just said today, when OJ was there, OJ said this thing, Halifa Sallah also said similar thing. Now UDP's position has changed.
Well, look, we all saw how OJ played the same game. Back in the days, he was for the 3 years. When he became cozy, he was opposed to the 3 years. They all flip-flopped all over the place.
But is it not because of Dabo's stand? That's why he also changed. Now that Dabo is...
No, but if that's the case, then obviously that doesn't make OJ's position right. Because you don't just sit there and flip-flop all over the place depending on whether Dabo's position is this, whether you... I mean, the consistency should have been, and the fidelity and the trust and the belief and the commitment should have been to the coalition agreement. That's what should have been the overriding factor here. Not to stand there and what we say in the call in the Gambia watch hand, oh, Dabo's position is this, so I'm going to flip mine and make it about this now. I think when you do that, obviously you two become a hypocrite along the way. And this is what has happened, unfortunately, with this process, where everybody came together, they sat down together, had an agreement, put out a document, and sold it to the Gambian people. And they ran on that document and won the elections. Right after when the elections were won, everybody literally went home as if though nothing ever happened. The moment you see, it's funny how the document is beginning to gain prominence again. Once upon a time, nobody wanted to take this document seriously. Yeah. I'm telling you, Omar, the discussion was about whether it was signed or not signed. It wasn't about this or that or the other. So that's why I'm saying that all the parties, not a single party has a legitimacy or moral right to speak on this matter and hold any other party to account for it. Barrow cannot do it to UDP or Usainu Dabo, and Usainu Dabo and UDP cannot do it to Barrow. OJ Jallo cannot do it to UDP. UDP cannot do it to Barrow. Dabo cannot do it to Mai cannot do it to Dabo. I can go on and on and on about how this dynamic played out. It was a big blunder on all parts because everybody was playing politics. Now, I get it. Politicians do act as politicians. Everybody's been trying to score a political point, and their positions have been shifting based on what political interest they have in the game. But all I am saying is, if we are going to go back to the basics here, the facts, as far as the Gambian people, since everybody is claiming to be speaking for the Gambian people and advocating for the Gambian people, at the end of the day, the Gambian people are the ones that are getting the short end of the stick because everybody has been playing nothing but a game with this whole process. And I think that's what's unfortunate. And again, when we say what Usaini did today was wrong or what the UDP's position has become is wrong, we are saying all of them. This is not just about UDP, and I don't want us to the discussion to become about quote-unquote this is a UDP thingy or UDP is the one. No, this is including Adama Barrow himself. All of them played a game with this whole agreement. They have no respect for it. They thought the MOU served its purpose. After the elections, everybody disrespected it. Nobody took it seriously. They all walked away from it. This is the hard fact, and nobody can dispute that.
Thank you so much, Banka, for your time.
Well, thank you, Banka. Like Banka said, this is not about the UDP, because I've already seen insults are coming in. You know that
they're
bad, and insults are coming in. But they don't really matter. You can insult all you want, but that's not going to stop us from speaking our mind. What I'm trying to say is this is about the country. It's about Gambia. It's not about Ousainou Darboe. It's not about Adama Barrow, because we talk about all of them. President Barrow many times I will come out and speak my mind against everything that he's doing that I think is not right. But when President Adama Barrow came in, Omar Wali, he did say that he does not know, he never even worked for government. That was the time when things were wrong. Each time you talk about it, you are almost like, you know, everything will happen, like you will receive all kind of insults. That was when this whole thing started going wrong. And you talked about that.
I have another person online. Hello, Sehu.
Yes.
Sehu Sedili.
Yes, hello. Hello, Omar Wali and Fatu Kamara. How are you?
Yes, Seku, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Okay.
All right. We are discussing about your party's press conference today and many other issues. I'm sure you heard what the party leader said.
Yes, I think we all heard what the party said. It's official now.
All right.
Before all this, a lot of questions were asked. What is UDP's position? So now it's crystal clear what the UDP's position is, and there we go. So nothing to ask again, Omar.
Oh, nothing to ask?
Well, from my point of view, everything is crystal clear. Where we said the party is demanding that Adama Barrow honors the 3-year agreement. And again, the party is not calling for people to go out and protest. All right? And for me, nothing has changed here. I see there's a lot of people saying there's inconsistency. But inconsistency in regards to what? Because UDP has never made its position from day one. It was like Ousainou Darboe. Like Ousainou Darboe is not UDP. He's a party leader, but he's not a UDP.
No.
So let's just get this clear. Sehu Sedili, you know that Ousainou Darboe is not only any ordinary person in this country. So if he comes out, can you hear me? So if he comes out and make a statement, is it not now that UDP is window dressing? But when the statement was made, it was taken as a UDP statement. But it was when they fell out now, they said this is individual or personal UDP's, Ousainou Darboe's personal opinion. But at the time, all of you endorsed this, the pronouncement made by Darboe.
Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. Gambia or UDP is not living in isolation with the rest of the world. We all live in a global village. In the country that I live in, with more advanced democracy, we know what's happening in the UK. The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, gave a different position with that of Labour Party with regards to the Trident nuclear power plant. He doesn't support it, the plan, but the party came out and told him, no, they want it to be honored because it's in their manifesto. And he changed his position. So what happened in Gambia is nothing new. It happens all over. There is a separation between, yes, he is a very important person, he is the leader of the party, but the party is different from Ousainou Darboe. Nobody can dispute that. So now the party has said, look, and I don't hear people in the UK saying that when Jeremy Corbyn changed his position, it's inconsistency. It's the party's policy. He came out, he has to abide by what the party wants. That's what leaders do. Leaders follow what their parties want. They don't. Lawyer Darboe is not a dictator. He cannot come out and say, "Yes, what I want is going to happen in UDP." This is our problem with Adama Barrow. Adama Barrow does. Adama Barrow wants things to go his way. So I want us to get away from this debate, saying there is inconsistency. If UDP,
yes,
if UDP had said from day one, if that statement had come from UDP, the utterances of the party leader, if it was an official press release, then I would not be on this program to say, yes, we don't have inconsistency. But officially, there is no inconsistency. But nobody can prove that there is inconsistency. The UDP position has been made public today. And let's make this clear. I heard a lot of people saying, Banker Mane said, yes, this is politics. I agree with your analyst. Politics is a game where people try to exploit opportunities. And it's all over. It's not about, opportunities because we want to win the hearts and the minds of the people. Look, some of us have been called out saying supporting Barrow. I have been one of the biggest supporters of Barrow on Facebook, and most people are. But listen, when we supported Barrow, was Barrow doing things that he's doing today? Was Barrow using the local authorities, like Lawyer Ousainou Darboe said, using the chiefs and the alcalos in the politics? He wasn't doing that. Was Barrow then determined to have his own party? Was Barrow determined not to honor to be one-term president? No. You see, the MOU goes beyond the 3-year agreement. Did Lawyer Dabo also tell Barrow that you should contest in 2021? No, he didn't tell that. The only thing he said was, if anybody wants to force him, I will take it to court. But certainly UDP is not forcing him to step down, are we?
But Sekou Sedili, I did say when we started the program, I did say that UDP actually saw a situation and they're trying to take advantage of that. I did say that right now, if you look at the political situation in the country, UDP has more people, it has more crowd. And if elections are to be held right now, you could win. But is it not that you are trying to take advantage of the situation? Because there is a president who until now, we don't know if he's going to set up a party or not. He doesn't have a lot of following, and you think right now we're out there, we're going to take advantage of this situation. Is that what it is?
Fatu, look, which politician would never take advantage of a situation that will favor him or her? Maybe one politician. That's politics. It's just like business. When you are a business person, you are in business, you own Fatu Network, you would like to take advantage of situation when it reaches your doorstep, right? And let's look at this, Fatu. This whole mess was caused by the coalition. We knew that the Constitution said 5 years. So who were the brains behind this 3 year? Probably they have a good intention. Like I listened to Halifa Saleh made a brilliant presentation. The logic behind the 3 years, you cannot question. We didn't want somebody to empower himself or herself into power. This is the whole thing. And we have hit the bedrock where we got a president who got power in his head and wants to, look, he doesn't have respect. My frustration here, I wrote this before. Why are people coming out saying Lawyer Dabo wants to put the country into flames? I've seen few people wrote that on Facebook. Okay. And this is disingenuous. This is disingenuous.
Okay, look, but what I want to say right here is, because the news review would come later and Lemon is getting ready. If UDP, right now what we're seeing, of course, you have the crowd, you have the numbers, and politics is a game of numbers. But if you believe that these people truly are UDP and they're going to be there for you, why take advantage of this situation? Why can't you all wait until 2021 if you believe that your crowd would stay with you? Are you worried that the Citizen Alliance, we're getting word that Dr. Sise and Co are on the verge of forming a political party. We heard about Dr. Yafa. We heard about a whole lot of other political parties. Are you worried that if you don't rush right now within these 2 years, if you wait until 3, somebody could overshadow UDP?
Fatu, do we listen to the press conference in totality?
No, because I'm talking to you now. I'm asking you a question.
No, listen. I am, I'm answering your question.
Yes.
I just want to see you and your listeners and everybody. We all listen to the press conference in totality. Lawyer Dabo said was crystal clear. We would want Barrow to honor the 3 years, but if he doesn't, we will go to the polls in 2021. So that answers your question. So UDP is not putting any hard and fast rules saying, you must do this. We are not forcing Barrow. We are just reminding him that you took and he spent a lot of time saying a leader is somebody who abides by his or her words. You have to, this question of integrity. The party leader reminded the president. Now the ball is in Adam Barrow's court.
But remember, your party leader also said that nobody should talk about 3 years. He said, let's do 5 years.
Yeah, he said that. He was saying that at the time. But now today,
at the time when he was in government.
No, look, Fatu, don't mix up.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking you a question.
At the individual level.
No, you're talking about Adam Barrow should stick to his word as a leader, but I'm telling you, your leader also came out at some point when he was in government and he said, let us stick to the 5 years.
Look, you're missing absolute oranges here a little bit. Look, I think let's stick to the issues here. Today, Lawyer Dabo spoke on behalf of the UDP.
The other day, he spoke on his own behalf.
Yes, exactly.
But you know you cannot separate. But you know you cannot separate.
No, you can't. Yes. I'm just giving an example of the Labour Party leader in the UK.
Jeremy
and that's a fact. They have a different policy. If people in the UK leave that, Jeremy Corbyn came out and said, okay, that was my position, but this is the position of the Labour Party. Now I'm going to go by the party's position.
Okay, so now what are you going to say to what people are saying that UDP is actually in a rush? They just cannot wait to get this man out so they can be there. Muneka affair. No, listen, let me finish. Finish. Muneka affair jogal matok.
No, I hear Barrow and on his surrogates always saying, if you want presidency, come through the front door, which is really ridiculous because UDP is a registered party. There is no other way of going through the front door than going to register your party and looking for the mandate of the people to the votes. Look, we are not pressing the button. We are just saying if Barrow doesn't want to honor the 3 years, we will go to the polls in 2021. UDP is doing its work. We are organized. We have got our structures. We have got our UDP plan 2021 being worked behind the state in terms of policy. We are working on our policy. Now you see Lawyer Dabo is one of the leaders who is now talking more of policy. He spoke of the Maputo Declaration on agriculture, devoting 10% of our revenue into GDP. Most of these leaders are not talking about policy.
Okay.
It's the UDP that's talking about policy.
But a lot of people also say UDP do not talk about any policy. They said all you talk about is we were the ones who were killed, our people were killed, we were the ones who were tortured. And let me tell you, I'm going to play the devil's advocate right here. And there is word out there that UDP feels so entitled that you guys have to have this. You have to have the presidency. Is that what it is?
Fatu, if people were to think that way, they would not be very wrong. Look at what happened in South Africa. Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years, and people of South Africa thought, well, he deserved to lead South Africa after he went through. So in a way, that's not completely wrong. But I'm not saying that people should have that entitlement. It should be left to the Gambian people. If the Gambian people don't want UDP to be in power, of course UDP will not be in power. We are living in a democracy. But what I'm saying is, I just want to say it's completely erroneous and disingenuous for anybody to say UDP doesn't talk about policy. During the party leaders' tour of the diaspora, he spoke in Paris, he spoke in Manchester, he spoke on policy, he spoke in Finland about policy. The other day when he spoke in Bakau, he talked about the ease of doing business in Gambia. Gambia slided in terms of competitiveness according to the World Bank Index. But
he was vice president too. He didn't see all these things when he was there.
Well, Fatu, you're a professional. You're a professional. You know,
I'm big. I told you. I'm asking questions.
Yeah, okay, you're asking questions. I'm just saying, when you are in government, you cannot come out, like Lawyer Dabo said in one of the interviews, you cannot come out and, like my party, only started speaking against the government when he resigned. When you are in government, you should say it internally. Lawyer Dabo said he... No, we're not saying
come out and say stuff about the government, but we're saying, I mean, while you were inside, you saw the things that were wrong, they could have fixed it.
Yeah, but he said he has given his word, he has given his advice. Look, you see, Fadu, we're missing one thing here. Like Lawyer Dabo brilliantly said today, UDP, Barrow is the president. He's the head of cabinet. If Lawyer Dabo has determination to do something and the president doesn't have the political will, let me give you a typical example. Amadou Sane was finance minister. You know the vehicle policy was recommended by him to save our economy $300 million. Who stopped that? Is it not the president? The president stopped it. So the ministers can do
the vehicle policy. They did work, and I think Omar wants to say something. But honestly, you know, you need to look at some of these things before you come out, because we were told 5 years, and then now that was the stand of Dabo, and now the stand of the party is to say that we're going to go for 3 years.
Yeah, I think the stand of the party.
Yes, and now it's Dabo's.
Yes.
And no, before it was Dabo's, and now it's the party.
Now that's the party. Now we're talking about the party, not Dabo.
Okay, well,
okay, Omar.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sehu, for your time.
Fatsaho is trying to reach you. If you can call her and put her in. And you know, we're just saying the change in this whole thing is why everybody today in Gambia is everyone is talking. When this press conference came, I was actually not even in the office, but people were kind of trying to see what is the reason why before Lawyer Ousainou Darboe would say, okay, we would do 5 years when he was in government and he was serving, and then now it changed. But what UDP is saying, when he said 3 years, that was his position as Honorable Lawyer Ousainou Darboe, and now the 3 years is the position of the party. So Omar, I'm trying to see how we're going to you know, separate the two. Because in Gambia, if you say Lawyer Ousainou Darboe, is when you say UDP, it's him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I have another person on the line. Dabah Malik. Yes, welcome to.
There's a lot of noise. Can you tell him to cut down the volume?
It seems you are listening to.
Put the volume out, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, carry on.
Flip-flop of Gambian politics.
You are live.
Yes, we are listening.
Now, for me, my take is for me, I want to concentrate on the press conference on the United Democratic Party. Nobody is going to dispute that it's one of the biggest political parties, you know. But you look at Dabo's posture in that press conference doesn't really show that this guy wanted to come out there and then spoke about what was written on that paper. For me, that's my take. Because even whereas he got up to the point that he was going to say what the position of the party was with regards to Barrow respecting the MOU, he stopped and bent down, lifted his head up again, and acted like somebody who was about to stammer and then say. So for me, I think they should just have allowed the guy to stick to the 5 years that he said, because whether we like it or not, whether Barrow likes it or not, come 2021, Gambia will go to the polls, and whoever Gambians vote in, we will all respect that. So we can make all the noise, we can talk about so much of this thing, we can play politics in as much as we want, but the reality is Gambia is not ready to go to elections. And all those people who were part of the coalition numbers, and I will say this, and I've been saying this, apart from PDIS, there was no political party that was part of the coalition who was ready to go to elections 2021. Because if they had prepared themselves for elections, they would have worked on the modalities of the MOU, but instead they were busy fighting over whether the MOU was signed, whether it was not signed, was it binding, was it not binding, and they spent almost nearly 2 years talking about all these things that are irrelevant. And now coming maybe almost a month before December, and you want Gambia to Barrow to resign. Okay, now, what I cannot understand is, going by the current state of our constitution, if Barrow resigns, the only person who can take over is Dr. Aissatou Touré. So for me, I cannot understand why, if they cannot allow that thing for Barrow, why would they allow it for Dr. Touré?
No, I think what it is it's going to be Dr. Aissatou Touré can step in as the new president, and then we call for elections in 90 days. I think that's actually where they're going with this.
That's what I'm saying, Doctor.
Yes. 90 days. So she's going to be president for only 3 months. 3 months.
No. In 90 days.
Yeah, carry on.
Does not say that, because it was
during the GIS program.
It was already amended, so she can only continue
for the 2 terms.
Continue the remaining of the 2 years, but we cannot go in for elections now. So my take is, one, Dr. Aissatou Touré is part of the coalition members. So for me, I don't see any reason. What I cannot accept for Barrow, I will not accept for anybody who is part of the coalition. So unless and until if they tell me they have something specific against Barrow, that the reason why they want him to go down, and then they prefer Aissatou Touré to become president. And we have had Dabo said it in his press conference today that even when Barrow was chosen, he preferred Dr. Aissatou Touré to be the flag bearer for UDP. Yeah. You understand? So what's the relationship between the two? Maybe that needs to be more clear. So for me, pushing this whole agenda of Gambia going into election is not possible, and it cannot happen. I don't see any mathematics. I don't see anything that they can do for it to happen. But the truth is, I think Gambians need to learn now, and we are seeing our political leaders, the kind of people they are. And, I hope and pray 2021 Gambians will be more mature.
Thank you. We have Fatou on the line.
They don't look at tribe, they don't look at religion, and then they vote in for people who are consistent, people who have principles, and they have morals. Yeah. Because somebody who is dishonest cannot hold another person accountable, and that's the hard fact.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
thank you very much, Daba. What he's trying to say is, if we have to say, and I have Fatou Saho on the line, just please hold on. What Daba is trying to say is, if we say, because President Adama Barrow needs to respect the Constitution, so now we cannot have him in there, he's saying that no other member of the coalition should be there. So then what we can do is maybe get somebody else to be there, because then all of them at some point, did something that wasn't right. The speaker, maybe the speaker, because the speaker was not there, but even though she was UDP at that time, or she's still UDP. But Fatou. Yes, Fatou, you are live. From Polifo can be election of UDP, la press conference, Memfo, ko Karisabo, Sanji, Aidan Sanji Sabola, instead of Qatar for 5 years.
Fatou, I've been following you on Omar Wali. I think so many people in this platform have not been fair to UDP. Why I say that is, Ousainou Darboe has been saying it over and over that I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking on behalf of UDP. I'm a lawyer. I'm a Gambian. Ousainou Darboe has the right to say, I'm supporting Adama Barrow to 5 years. But if UDP make their standard, Adama Barrow need to respect the 3 years, so be it. Adama Barrow need to respect the UDP. Adama Barrow, the tribal card play again.
Fatou Saho.
Adama Barrow call on the fullers. Adama Barrow call on the fullers. Adama Barrow say he needs 3,000 fullers. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, we can wait. Yes, we can.
Okay, Adama Barrow called on 3,000 fullers to go to State House, but that wasn't a crime. That wasn't a crime. But when Usainu Dabo say Adam and UDP make their stand today that Adama Barrow need to respect the 3 years, Adama Barrow is too dangerous for Gambia. Adama Barrow is playing the tribal card, and I may try it. But we will make sure that Adama Barrow cannot get away with that. Adama Barrow need to respect the 3 years. He will go down. So many people in this Facebook are killing themselves today because of Usainu Dabo, Usainu Dabo flavor. Usainu Dabo is a Gambian for the sake of God. Usainu rightness of the Kafoko. Adam Nam Patio Molko. Usainu Tanta UDP Ayafole. UDP Koluko. Adam Barrow 5 years and again. Usainu Tafole UDP Mole Kalma Rice Prali of. So now the Moliamero so be it. Until we are sick and tired of Adama Barrow game. Adama Barrow kabri Usainu no sorofita mile too. I'll be a Gilatolo state of the State House. Akaka Kilela. Ako model video will be soon can never ala kumandika. Do ala kagela political prisoner la tune akono. Naman can go don't fool Adama Barrow.
I think you are becoming too personal here.
With all due respect, I think you're supposed to be on a moral high ground. We dialect instead of insulting. So remember for
I take it back. Okay. Mingine keta wala muko. Adama Barrow akamole kiso campaign.
Yeah.
Ndabuka nendeki. But Adama Barrow katalo podium motole mo benyala mo kumandi thousands of people in State House. Adama Barrow State House tondi munala political bureau.
No, let's talk about ngabi kumo for memelna. De nga ning okumo for dalno.
Let me tell you the problem with African. If you don't know the cause of your illness, the doctor will never keep you. This is our problem. Membe caring be muna wulu. Membe caring be muna wulu. Membe caring be mayor wulu. And just last week, Adama Barrow for 3,000 full. Adama Barrow need 3,000 fullers. Why only fullers? And Adama Barrow went to stand at this project and amending.
No, I'm not holding brief for Adama Barrow here, but Adama Barrow did not go to standard to say go is a mandinka. Look, near journalism karang, there is what they call maximum point of interest. This is the editor's discretion to put any headlines, even though there was an argument, telephone arguments like should they put a headline of that nature. But you look at the headline, you look at the lead of the story, it's completely different. But kumo menka fojang, I don't mind, you come via bias, it's not about that. But ning agreement on ning, akam teka ebe kuonin taka ninjusola, ngoleje. They are not talking about the whole issue.
No, Omar, for al-bias study.
No, you can say that, I don't mind.
Any
time
of the day and night, people are not being fair on UDP. I'm not talking on behalf of UDP. So if UDP executives call on Usainu Dabo today and say, Usainu will make our stand on Adama Barrow, he need to respect the 3 years. Who is Usainu Dabo to say no? Can Usainu Dabo tell everybody, the entire UDP executive, that no, I said 3 years, I said 5 years.
No, Fatu, nga understand le kame mfo, bali kame mfo, yalo Usainu fana ngatele mu UDP la nyaton koti fonte. So ni Usainu nene nata nung ako, sa inte kole ko nga ake sanji luluti, watara Usainu be government okono. So oto UDP nkolu fana, ifana nyanta mutala fele, ya foko ntolla nyaton kode akola no sanji lulu woto nga understand le ko nyin kode sa abe ton kanne unfortunately bari bawa sanji lulu le fono nga ka ngo janga yandi nga law sanji lulu kan na banta dron yemol fu katabake de na tol yalla politiko di dal yalla patigi na warandi ni election o sita I said no,
but I'm not taking over you, but UDP is the only democrat here. UDP supporters and UDP executive, they can stand in front of Usainu Dabo and say, Usainu Dabo, we don't agree with you, and it's stand.
Bari bira bije, alma fine no time alma agree? Because Madi amo moenu.
No, remember that. Usainu Dabo, you guys also we say we are not Barrow. We gave our stand long time ago. You know.
No, ngame for bila 3 years for wata bila ko bila ka abe 5 le kala wata abe government kono nungo time 4 time o altol fundital nungo alko hanimba kere sabaleti bambi ko wata be ala tele nungo vice president.
Yeah. What everybody is 99. I can say 80% of Gambians are behind Barrow because they don't know that we are playing with a green snake in the green grass. That's this guy. So we know what is this guy. So we wouldn't let this guy to have another 2 years. It's not going to work for Gambia.
America, okay.
Thank you so much. Somebody on Skype. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Who is this, please?
Wally.
Yes, sir.
Wally, Allah ka chabe interesting back.
Baraka baake jamalem.
Intelem Lamin.
Lamin.
From Norway, yeah.
Oh, okay, Lamin.
Yeah, just get them to make it short.
Yes.
Ka chabe interesting back. Ale kumu be different opinions sur la bante. Intela party leader même fo. Ngamera maybe a scale fontele ma fahama fondu maybe as a lawyer o matter opinion da ko baro
hold on I'll keep it
ni mo ko ba chayla abe sama lakit am as an individual akadi am patire ko yala bi ngamera mul ma ngando fengale ka ko ngere kuma do bi anye kuma do oje jalo na jande ay the same thing level atako 3 years no sira ke be sayna ako saya ako 5 years ali sa abe siri ala sa yalo Gambia here we have to be very honest here because Gambia right now Gambia cooling is very sensitive mbakala hakilola ngani roso yalo sa ko be ko ta madala jusola Gambia ko ambi na mosila anga ka mosila de so sa imbe munekela ngenda me do Gambia be munekela together pour banko nyeda nyako be munekela pour ba la fitno ka na banko waaw yawo sa ada may sangi sabala ni sangi sabo wala ken ni sabo kasi ana fiti mo radiya moye ani mole kacha bani say ni mane dia mole ko Allah ta bi alman faro dia ko ndika ta jabu 2021 wo ko na be dia o man be dia no ko ngenda ko nyako adamale pro be sama lañu bangu ngat tabe adamanya atinda ngoro kana afilna moye maybe keno de flat parce mo wona ko wonde kato fay gat wala ke jo wala ke inara mo fay kato la dia de la buya gayi nde bala mara 2021 o be keno nyaadi ala baraka ba
abaraka ba thank you so much
do be line no to ngofana so hello
Fatou.
Yes.
Awega intelem keba si je bimbe diamulo mondi kan hawolto.
Yes keba.
Yalong Gambia ku problem killing awole soto.
Carry on.
Wole ko ñu problem wol be UDP le along kan. Anu parce que kabri MOU ni funtita Gambia be d'accord ta ko 3 years le nyanta tala. But usenu fongole funtita ako woti soto la jang bi ati soto la jang sama kadu kolbe diari nenu you know nyata to nyale fula nyoye kadu kolbe diari nenu ay place o bala abe tama kan dunia ko daoda ibe pademo diala you know teranga bala diploma di passport kolbe be diari akan sila kabri ya bondi yala UDP mol bondi wo grudge ning lebi je you know wole ya sabu afutina nan koteke ako fo barosita 3 years and what the fongole ko ni mo ko barota 5 years or 3 years o kama be sambala court so after fundina nan koteke ka foko hani baro nyanta fund anu nga constitutional soro baro be sile 5 years or 5 years si moti baro force la bi moti baro force la sama ka tu nga constitutional soro anu be constitutional respect la de dunia be a longo ndemal la bi baro la bi mal la bi la baro la soma bari tonya fonsa fo problème o nga Gambia problème o be mi soro bi UDP lake le abe lankana ni iman tactical alliance nati nu tombi ni problème o be ti sotla tombi problème silale abe rating tela trio so be funda abe jila bari abe flip flop kan abe flip flop from bi ni fo sama ni fo ni fo sama ni fo
c'est dili sitana audacity soto ka fo mole ko ha Ousainou personnel ay ñine fo bari UDP ñine fo anene o je mutore ni mu political party leader yeb mom c'est on fem fo aka munta ko ila party le afo mo nga wala lon dunia ko you know a man like Ousainou, one of the most powerful man that moment I need these whole beke on calculated decisions a sita ako 5 years so ya bondi ko homelo to asita ka for 3 years ka